Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this is your well-rounded math teacher, Mr. Picard, and today we're going to talk about dividing polynomials. And I think, we're going to jump right into B here. B is a good problem. And you're dividing by one of two things in today's lesson. You're dividing by either one term, like 3x, that's a monomial, or you're dividing by two terms, like an x plus 2. And there's a difference between them. So let's talk about that difference right now. Okay. So for this first one here, B actually we're going to jump to, we're dividing by 3x. When you're dividing by one term, you just divide each and every term on top in your numerator by that one term. So 6x squared divided by 3x plus 10x divided by 3x, and finally 5 over 3x. And then you just simplify where you can. So for this first one, the 3 and the 6, well, 3 goes into 3 once, and 3 goes into 6 twice. So I'm going to have 2 all over 1. It's x squared over x to the first, and when you're dividing like bases, like these are, they're both x, you subtract exponents, and we have more exponents, or more x's in the top. 2 minus 1 is 1, so we have one more x on top. So this would cancel out, and this just becomes x to the first. Plus, the only thing that really cancels out here is the two x's. X divided by x cancels out to 1. And you're left with 10 over 3. And then the last one here, excuse me, 5 and 3 have nothing in common. So that's just going to stay 5 over 3x. I guess you could clean this up and just say 2x plus 10 over 3 minus 5 all over 3x. And that would be your answer. Okay. Let's go over to this one now. Once again, 3xy, you're dividing by one term. So you're just going to rewrite this. 9x to the fifth y squared over that 3xy. And the same with the other two. And finally, plus 12xy all over 3xy. Okay, so let's start simplifying here, or reducing. In this first one, well, 3 goes into 9. 3 goes into 3 once, and 9 3 times. So that's going to be 3 over 1. On the bottom, we have x to the first. On the top, in the numerator, we have x to the fifth. We have 4 more x's on top, so that becomes just subtracting exponents, x to the fourth. And then y squared over y to the first, I'm just going to end up with a y. 2 minus 1 is 1, so that's just like a y to the first. Minus. 3 goes into 15 5 times. This will just cancel out to 1, so I'll have a 5 and a 1. X squared over x to the first, I'm just going to have an x left on top. And y cubed over y to the first, subtracting 1 from 3, I get 2. I have 2 more on top, so a y squared. Here the y's and the x's just cancel out. And 12 divided by 3 is 4. So that 3 divided by 3 is 1. So it'd be plus 4 over 1. And just cleaning this up, I guess you'd say 3x to the fourth y minus 5xy squared plus 4. You don't have to have those ones in there. I just have them in there as kind of a placeholder. And that's it if you're dividing by one term, okay? Now we get into these problems. And here's where we're going to use what's called synthetic division, okay? It's kind of a nice way to divide these when you're dividing by two terms. So first thing, whatever you're dividing by, and here we're dividing by x minus 4, I'm going to set that equal to 0, okay? And solve. I'm going to add 4 to both sides, and I get x equals 4. So for synthetic division, we're just going to pop 4 into a little box like this. And then we get rid of the x's on top. We just take all the numbers. That's 1x squared plus 2x minus 24, and list those coefficients, the numbers in front of your x terms, and the constant in order. It's called degree of decreasing order. 1, 2, and negative 24. And we skip a space and draw a little line. So here's how it works. Bring down 1. You always bring down the first number. I always bring that down, 1, and put it down here. And then we start multiplying. So 4 times 1 is 4, and I'm going to put that right here. And these columns that we have, now we add them up. We always add them up. 2 plus 4 is 6, and then we multiply by that 4 again. 4, this 4 right here, times the 6 is 24. Once again, add. Negative 24 plus 24 is 0, and that was our last one. I always put a box around it because that's my remainder. So what that means is x minus 4 divides in there evenly. No remainder. So now we put the x's back in. Now the number just to the left of my remainder, that number is just my constant, 6. The next one up is going to be my first x term, x to the first, so that's 1x. So my answer is 1x plus 6, or you can just say x plus 6. The other thing is this. Your first term here, my x to the first power, is always 1 degree less than what you're dividing into, and that was x squared. So my first term has to be 1 less than that, and that is x to the first. The main reason is if you take the first term here, which is x squared, and the first term here that you're dividing by, which is x, well, x squared divided by x is just x, and that's kind of why that's my first term here. One of the reasons why, okay? Just so you guys know, let's look at the next one here. We're dividing by x plus 2, and it could be written like this too. And we wouldn't have this. You're still dividing, but you don't line them up and put x squared over x plus 2, 10x over x plus 2, and 24 over x plus 2, because you're dividing by 2 terms. You would still use synthetic division. Just because it's written a little bit differently doesn't mean you do it differently if you're dividing by 2 terms. And people make mistakes with that, so I kind of wanted to go over that quick. Okay, excuse me. So set this equal to 0, and we're going to solve. Subtracting 2 from both sides, I get x equals negative 2. So that's the little number that goes in the box for synthetic division. This is 1x squared. It is in order. We have an x to the second, x to the first, and then no x. So it's going down 2, 1, and then degree of 0. So it's in degree of decreasing order. If it wasn't, you'd have to put a 0 term in there in its place. Anyway, we get 1, negative 10, and negative 24. I think the biggest mistake students will make when they're doing this is they'll forget the negatives. They'll put 1, 10, and oh geez, that's 24, sorry. They'll put positive 24 instead of negative 24. That's what I see generally, so just be aware of that. Skip a space. We always bring that first number down. In this case, it's 1, and then we start multiplying. So negative 2 times 1 is going to give me negative 2 here. We always add up these columns. So negative 10 plus negative 2 is negative 12. And then the negative 2 times negative 12 is going to give me positive 24. So once again, I get a remainder of 0. Okay. Okay, this is x squared, so I'm going to do this backwards this time so you can see you can do it both ways. So my first term right here, this 1, should be 1 degree less than that, so it's going to be 1x to the first. Then going down, it would just be a constant negative 12, so x minus 12 is my answer. Now the significance of that, because the remainder is 0, if I take x minus 12, my answer, and multiply it by x plus 2, we should get the x squared minus 10x minus 24. I'm just going to use distributive property twice here, just to kind of check my work. X times x is x squared, and x times 2 is plus 2x. Then go to the negative 12. Negative 12 times x is negative 12x, and negative 12 times negative 2 is negative 24. These two are like terms, so it's x squared minus 10x minus 24. And there you go. It's the exact same thing that we have up here. So this is our correct answer. okay? You don't have to check your work, I'm just showing you. It's no different than if we took 24 and divided it by 6. Well, that's equal to 4. 6 times 4 equals 24. We're just doing that with variables, polynomials, whatever you want to call it. Okay, for this one now, this one's a little bit different because it's a 2x squared, okay? When we're dividing by the 2x minus 3, set that equals 0 and solve. I'm going to add 3 to both sides, and I get 2x equals 3. As soon as I divide here by 2 and get x equals 3 halves, okay, that's going to go in the box. You could do decimals if you want. It doesn't really matter to me. You can multiply by 3 halves with your calculator. It's pretty easy. But the main thing here is this. Because we divided by this 2 here, we have to divide answer. Let's divide our answer by 2. Okay, we'll come back to that. First, we got to find our answer. We have 2x cubed, x squared, negative 2x, and a 15. So it is going down in order, degree of decreasing order here. And that's important. So listen them out: 2, 5, negative 2, and negative 15. Skip a space. And then we always bring that first number down. That's the first step. A lot of people multiply 3 halves by 2 and then bring it down. That's not correct. Just bring the 2 down. That's my first number here. Now, 3 halves times 2 over 1. You could do it like this. Excuse me. And that's 6 over 2, which equals 3. So my next number up here is 3. Or you could just put it in your calculator like this: 3 divided by 2 times the 2, and you'd still get the same answer, 3, okay? Doesn't matter how you do it. Use your calculator, do it by hand, do it in your head, whatever works. Okay, we always add the columns up. 5 plus 3 is 8. So now we have 3 halves times 8 over 1. Well, that's 24 over 2, or 12. So over here I'm going to put a 12. Adding that column up, negative 2 plus 12 is 10. 10 times 3 halves, I'm going to get 30 over 2, or 15. When I add them up, I get 0. So once again, my remainder isn't always going to be 0. In this case, it is 0. But the key now is this. I got my answer. I just have to write it with the x's in there. But before I do that, we have to remember that. Let's get black here. Because we divided by this 2 here, we have to divide our answer by 2. That means all of these we have to divide by 2. So first one to the left of the remainder, this is my whole number. 10 divided by 2 is 5. Next one over, 8 divided by 2 is 4. That's going to be the first x, so that's 4x. And then 2 divided by 2 is 1, so that's going to be 1x squared. So there's my answer. X squared plus 4x plus 5. And if you notice, this is x cubed. I could have went the other way because, hey, 2 divided by 2 is 1. This is x cubed, so 1 degree less than that is x squared. 4 divided 2, or 8 divided by 2 is 4, so going down now for x. 10 divided by 2 is 5. So it doesn't matter which way you go, you're still going to get the same answer. Okay? All right. Okay, let's look at this one now. Kind of doing the same thing over and over again. We're going to add a little step here. First set that what you divide them by equal to 0, so subtracting 4, I get x equals negative 4. So I'm going to put a little negative 4 right here in the box. We list them out, and you would think it'd be 2, 6, and 152. But we have an x cubed, but I don't have an x squared. So I need to put a 0x squared inside there. Now it's x cubed, x squared, x to the first, and a constant. So it is in degree of decreasing order. So You have to pop in a 0 there if you're missing one of your x terms, if it doesn't go in order. So it should be 2, 0, 6, and 152, okay? Always bring that first number down, and we can start multiplying here. -4 times 2 is -8. Add up your columns. That's -8. -4 times -2, or I'm sorry, -4 times -8 right here is going to give me 32. 6 and 32 is 38. -4 times 38 on your calculator is -152. Add those together, and I get 0. So that's my remainder. And we didn't have to divide over here by anything, so this is going to be my answer. I'm going to start this way. We start out with an x cubed term, so this first one is going to be 2, 1 degree less than x cubed is x squared. Minus 8x plus 38, and that is my answer. Okay, let's do one more here, and then I'm going to let you guys work. Setting this equal to 0, subtracting 1 from both sides, I get 3x equals -1. Dividing by 3 now, okay? We got to divide by 3. I get -1/3 in the box, but we got to remember divide, answer by 3, because we divided by 3 right there. X cubed, x squared, x to the first, and then no x, so it's 3, 2, 1, 0, so it goes in order. 6, 5, -2, and 1. Skip a space and start bringing them down. So I'll bring down the 6 first. -1/3 times 6 over 1, that's going to give you -6 over 3, or -2. When I add 5 and -2 up, I get 3. -1/3 times 3 over 1, that's -3 over 3, I get -1. Add those up, I get -3. -1/3 times -3 is +1. Okay, when I add these two up, I get 2. My remainder is now 2. So that's a little bit different. So I'm going to show you how we work with that. So this is kind of a good problem to end on. First we have to divide our answer by 3 here. Let me grab a pen here. But we don't divide the remainder. The remainder you never divide, just these answers right here. Okay, we're going to divide them all by 3. Just like if our remainder was equal to 0. I'm going to start out with this. We start out with x cubed. So the first one, 6 divided by 3, which is 2, is going to be 1 degree less than that. That's going to be 2x squared. 3 divided by 3 is 1, so that's going to be +1, just x. -3 divided by 3 is -1. And this is what your answer would be if your remainder is 0. But it's equal to 2, and it's a +2. So I'm going to say +2 all over. Our remainder, we take that number and just divide it by what you're dividing by. We are dividing by 3x plus 1. So I'm going to put a 3x plus 1 here. And this is how you would write your answer if you had a remainder like this. I think we've done enough here. That's good. We didn't do much more in the lesson. There's only a couple more. I will say this, your assignment, the first 3 or 4 should be pretty easy. Down here, we just did some factoring. Just make sure you factor those. You got to use the little X method. You can skip the box challenge if you want. You don't have to do that one. So do 1 through 5, and then try 6 and 7. And that's it. Have a great day.